Welcome back. My name's Dave, and this is Pinnacle my N-Scale layout. Today we're going to talk about how I go about doing scratch building. I realized I talk about it, but I never really show any how I manage to get dimensions and the tools I use and stuff. So I thought I would talk about it today, and let you in on what I do when I start to build a scratch build. Now, not everybody scratch builds. I understand that, but in my opinion, if you're going to do prototypical stuff and Walthers doesn't make a kit, then you got to build it yourself. And that's where scratch building comes in. So let's just get started right away here. I'm going to switch to camera 6 here. Is that where we're at? Yeah. Boom. So here we have a picture of a farm building. We have just a standard steel construction farm building. We have a large opening in it, and we have a door, and the door is what's important here. So the best reference material that you can get for scratch building is the internet. So I'm looking at this here. I'm going to put this down here so you can see it. This is from the internet. This is just a Google image search. And it tells me, now this is in metric, which isn't going to help. So let me see if I can find it. Okay, so an average door is, according to the other piece of paper, I'm going to do the other piece of paper because I think it's easier for you to, if I do it in feet and inches. For most of you, feet, I know the world uses metric, and we use metric here in Canada, but lots of people still use feet and inches. So here we have a door. Just a standard house door. It's 80 inches tall and 36 inches wide. So you could just take a scale ruler and do the conversion, and it would happen. You would have the opening size of a doorway. So, but how does that help us? Well, we just said that this is 80 inches. So what I do normally is, here's a normal, just take a ruler and measure the door. My head in the way? My head's probably in the way. It's going to be in the way for a second so I can read this ruler. So this is, I think, 21 millimeters tall. You can't see my handwriting. Okay, there. Now you can see it. So we know it's 21 millimeters tall. So now you measure the building, and it's 50. Let's say 55. So the building's 55 tall. So now all you're going to do is take 21 and divide it into this, and it'll tell you the height of the building. Now, I know, so this allows me to go, okay, so the door is that high, and then the door is this high again. So now we're at 41 and a bit. Now the bit is where the problem is, because you have to start figuring out whether this is half a door or a third of a door or whatever, but you can roughly guess what size that's going to be. So now that we know this, we can take a scale ruler, and this is my scale ruler. You know, you won't be able to. I have hunted and hunted and hunted to give people somewhere where you can go and purchase this ruler. This is truly an N-scale ruler. It is only N-scale, nothing else. There's nothing on the back. There's no HO. There's no O. There's nothing. But it is a great little ruler, and unfortunately, I don't think, well, I've gone to Flint Model Supply, which is the company that makes this little thing, and it's out of stock. In fact, I think I might have bought this back in the 60s. It says 1969 on the website, so you could tell it's an old ruler, and I have panic attacks when I can't find it. So now what we're going to do? Well, we figured out that the door is 21. and we can, and we also measured this as 55. So I take my ruler, my caliper, oops, got to change it over to metric, and I go, well, you could do it on the drawing too. So there's 55 millimeters, which comes in at pretty close to 30 feet. Right? That's great if you got a door, but what if you don't have a door? What if you got something else in your photograph and you want to do it? Well, let's go look at the building, the second building that's in the DPW Highways depot. This is it's a very large building, and it holds, looking at this, like, it looks like sand. There's sort of a brown color in here. So how do I figure out how tall this thing is? Well, the only thing in the picture is this garbage bin. So what did I do? I went to Google and I searched. And I searched until I found this. And so we know that one of these large steel bins is 2 meters tall and 2 meters wide. Actually, it says 2.02 meters and 2.05 meters. But for the sake of argument, we're just going to go 2 meters on those. Now, having done that, what do you want to do? Well, your scale ruler's in feet. So what do? You got to convert things. So on the web, or sorry, on my phone, hold on, let me get, I got to start that. I have this app, and it's called Units Plus. There's a professional version, which you pay for, and then there's the free version, which is what I pay for, because it does everything that I need, and I don't need to pay for stuff. So all I do is go length and back this up. And what did we say? We said 2 meters roughly. So 2 meters. And that tells me that this bin is 6 feet and a half inches tall. I'm just going to go in inches. Hold on. There. 78 inches, pretty close to 78 3/4. So with 78 3/4, but it's easier to do it in feet. Just 6. So 6 feet. So now I take my calipers and I go again, and my head's probably going to be in the way for a second. And 6 feet is roughly 11 millimeters. Looking at this, yeah, 11 millimeters. So now I can figure out how tall this building is, because all I do is take that, put it against the edge of the building, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a bit again. Now this is the fudge factor here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 6, it's 30. So you now know the building's roughly 30 feet. I would say it's 35 feet or so to this point. And then you can do the same thing with that 6 feet and go across if you want. But I have an easier way. Go to Google Maps, find the building you want in Google Maps, and Google Maps has a feature that allows you to measure. And since most of Google Maps are top down, you just put a point on this corner and then stretch over here and do another point on this corner. It'll tell you exactly how big it is in meters. So you can't do up and down, but you can do the outside dimensions of the building. So let's take a look at that building. So here it is. I'm just gonna back the camera out a bit so you can see all of it. Let's do it there. So here's the front of the building that we were just looking at. So all I did was transfer all my measurements onto this, and then using a square and a ruler and some time, I just worked it out to make it the size I needed. So it's roughly 35 millimeters by 75 millimeters to this point. And then this was fudge work here, this little space here, this was fudge work, figuring it out, just taking a look at the picture and determining what kind of angle there might be. And then I just built the whole thing on this sheet of paper so that I could come up with, hang on, I got so much stuff on here. Where'd I put them? Oh, sorry, here they are. So I painted the interior of these black, so we have all of these braces that go inside. We have the front and the back walls. And both side walls. So that's how I got to this point. And this is pretty well true of everything that I do when I'm building scratch build. Now I just want to go over some of the tools I use and how and a little tips and stuff. So one of the first things that I do, because this is birch plywood, on the surface where I'm going to glue the styrene, I give it 3 coats of, I hope this is sealed properly, of clear coat. Okay, that's the French side. Let's go to the English side. Quick dry clear coat acrylic polyurethane. This is a water-based, so it cleans up with soap and water, and it doesn't have very much of a smell. It is, you need to let it sit for 2 hours between coats and a 24-hour coat after that. So each one of these has 3 coats of that urethane. And the reason is, if you're going to use super glue on this thing, when you put the super glue on, it just gets soaked straight into the wood. And that doesn't help with the gluing. It makes it very frustrating. Take it from me. I tried yesterday. Finally, my brain kicked in. I said, "Oh, geez, I'm supposed to coat this first." So, but once it's sealed, then super glue takes beautifully to this stuff. Now, the other thing that I use, and I'm going to demo this one, not on the one I did last week, because this is a much simpler box. These are magnetic clamps from Prose, Prose. They are not cheap. A set of 4 is just slightly over $50, but they make this part of the job so much easier. So, clamp, clamp. Take your, no, I'll do it reverse. I'll do it with the black out. So you can see it's fairly strong. So now I'm just going to, pull that away, put this in place, and now I can adjust this, and the same with the top. And then I typically do 1L like that, and And then the other L, let's just get this up, and go. Push that to where it's supposed to be, and push that to where it's supposed to be. Now the nice thing about this is there's a gap here, and because there's a gap there, it allows for, I'm just going to show you on this one, you can see this is the inside of the other building, the one with all of the garage doors, and I put some bracing on either edge. Well, that leaves enough room for me to put that bracing in and then glue the pieces together. So that's why I use the Prose angled clamps. And I've got this backwards. Oh, that's why. Okay. Well, I'll turn it upside down, but then you can just put them together to make your building. So that's the first scratch build tool I use, and I use it almost exclusively. And now I'm just going to run through a couple of more tools. I'm just checking the time here. Okay. So like I say, for the first building we built last week, I needed to know garage sizes. Well, this is a typical garage for a car. And then I used a door from that photograph to determine the height of the garage doors on this wall. So here's the door I used, and then I was able to do that with the so these are all set to be put together, so that's what I'll be doing this coming week, is putting things together. I am waiting on Summer Hobbies to ship me some specific colors for these buildings. I didn't have it in my collection of yellows, and it's a specific yellow. You can see it's kind of a tan yellow. So I wanted to get that paint to do this work. So what I normally use, well, as I said, just get these out of the way a bit. A scale ruler, a normal ruler, something that will help me generate angles, a machinist square, and I've got 3 or 4 of those, and a metal triangle. All right. Then a pair of calipers. Now, if you're an HO, you might think, well, geez, that's a small caliper for if I was working with HO. Well, you don't have to work with HO with a small caliper. Just let me get this box open here. Is that the one I want? Yes, this is the one I want. This is my other caliper. And it's 300 millimeters long, which is basically, I think it's basically a foot. Yeah, it's basically 12 inches. And again, with these, turn them on, and then you can switch between millimeters and inches on this one, just back and in inches as fractions, and then millimeters again. And the same is true of the smaller one. I didn't have the bigger one before, and just to demonstrate here, this pair of calipers is smaller than the building. This pair of calipers is exactly the right length to be. Let's zero that out. Why are you flashing? Maybe the battery's going. Zero it there. turn it back on. See if it starts flashing. It doesn't matter. But again, having a larger one makes a huge difference in speeding up how you do this. The only thing I don't have here on the table is my T-square. I'm wondering if I should run and get it for you guys. And it is, it's a godsend when you're modeling. I am going to run and get it. It's just back here. This is the square I use for making the drawings. And the beautiful thing about this, it's got holes at every interval. Doesn't matter what size of scale you're looking at, it has holes at every interval. So you can just put it down, put your pen in there or your pencil in there, and then move it across, and it draws a straight line just exactly where you want. This is just a wonderful, wonderful tool. If I can find it, I think I got this from AliExpress. It has absolutely, the only thing it says on it is patent pending. It doesn't actually have a manufacturer's name. But it is a beautiful, beautiful tool to use. Now, the other thing I just want to talk briefly about is this black paint. If I was to use model paint, you know, like Vallejo or Tamiya, and paint the interior of these buildings with that paint, I would, excuse me, I'm just putting the caliper away, don't want to get it damaged. I would be wasting paint, in my opinion. So I went to my local Home Hardware, and I asked the gal there, what's the smallest can of paint you can mix up? And she says, well, I can give you a 425 mil, I think it's a pint, of paint. And she said, well, the only problem is it only comes in, what did they call it? Satin? I think it was satin. And she says, that's the problem. I said, absolutely not. So I've got enough black paint here to paint hundreds, probably, of scratch-built stuff on the inside. And the reason I do that is to control the amount of light that is inside the building, and I don't want it coming shining out of the building at all. And the last thing I'm going to show you is how I spent my week, besides cutting out that building. Now, I mean, I do have other tools that I use for scratch building. I mean, I have a laser cutter. It sure speeds things up. And I have a 3D printer. So I just want to show you what I spent my week doing with 3D printing so you can see this. Pop it open. Okay. Can I get it there? Yeah. Is that all in frame? Yep, that's all in frame. So here are the garage doors for the building. I drew them up in Tinkercad and printed them out. Here are the exterior doors, just exterior doors. These doors are slightly larger for double doors. This is the wood ones that were cut out, and this is also the wood ones that were cut out. I've got tiny, and I mean tiny, I just don't want to, I've got so many it doesn't matter. Tiny little grills. I'm just going to leave, like, I'm impressed that the darn printer was able to print out this grid, because it's very, very small. I've got roof vents that I drew up that will go on these buildings. I've got wedges that are the right, slope for the buildings. I've got some more vents. I printed a bunch of backup generators, because I assumed they have one at least out there. I realized that they would have to fill their vehicles with fuel, So I printed up some tanks. Both of these are from Thingiverse. And then this is another little miracle product. That's a gas pump. I don't know if you can see that. And it's even got N-scale hoses on them that are looped back. It's amazing what a printer can do. So that was my week. So what are we doing next week? Well, I'm hoping that Summer Hobby comes through with the some plastic that I'll just focus that again. And we'll go back to. I'm hoping that Sunward Hobby comes back with delivering something like some of the styrene and paint that I've ordered. The current postal strike is slowing things down. I would have thought couriers were faster than the mail, but Sunward Hobby must pay somebody at Canada Post to get their packages here so quickly. They're almost as good as Amazon. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching today. Like, comment, and subscribe. Just click on the subscribe button and choose that little bell. It'll tell you when I'm on with a new video the next time around. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and I'll see you again next week with a new video. Thanks for watching.